sir has joined. So you just let me know what time we are going live. So shall we start?
Sir, we are live now.
Yeah. We are live.
A very warm good morning to one and all. I deem it's a great honor and proud privilege to welcome on behalf of Ministry of Education, Innovation Cell and AICT. Today, I once again welcome the keynote speaker, Professor VijayRaghavan, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, all dignitaries, academic leaders who are witnessing with us this momentous occasion. Today is very auspicious day. We are celebrating the 159th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. I once again welcome you all on this momentous occasion. Ministry of Education is celebrating Innovation Week as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, e-Symposium on building innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem in educational institutions. Is designed to showcase the spread and the depth of the entrepreneurship across India. Interestingly, in the startup world, 2021 has been recognized as the year with 40 plus unicorns added in this year. We are fortunate enough we have the keynote speaker, Professor VijayRaghavan sir. Before inviting him, I would like to give a brief introduction about sir. Professor VijayRaghavan sir is the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, succeeding Dr. R. Chidambaram on April 3, 2018, and the Chairperson of Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council. He was Secretary, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India from January 28, 2013 to February 2, 2018. The Principal Scientific Advisor works with all arms of government, with our states, our citizens, national and international agencies. The goal is that the benefit of science, technology and innovation solutions reach the most needy for the sustainable development of India and for the well-being of our planet. Professor VijayRaghavan is also a distinguished professor at the National Center of Biological Sciences, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bangalore, and was the NCBS director till 2013. He studied chemical engineering at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, holds a PhD in molecular biology from the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, was a senior research fellow at the California Institutes of Technology. His research is on the nerves and muscles and how complex behavior emerges during animal development. Professor VijayRaghavan is a fellow of the Indian Science Academics, the Royal Society, the Academy of Medical Sciences UK, and a foreign associate of the US National Academy of Sciences. He was awarded the Padma Shri by the Government of India in 2013. Sir, once again, we welcome you. We invite you to address this August gathering. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Amit. Very generous, if long introduction. I'm deeply honored to be here on this occasion. We're celebrating our Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And this is a very special focus on innovation and where we are and where we need to go. One of the important points which I'll try to address, I don't know how effective I'll be, is to ask, what are we doing today in the context of where we came from recently and where should we go later? And the reason why I'll address that point is a simple one. At any given time, innovation and entrepreneurship takes what is available in the ecosystem of quality, looks at it from the perspective of techno-economic possibility and what encouragement is received, and goes forward. In other words, innovation and entrepreneurship depends enormously on the state of the fundamentals of the ecosystem, the R&D laboratories, school and college education, and research in that system. If that well has run dry or will run dry, then innovation will also come to a halt. Innovation needs that well. So the question going forward is, how does one fill that well, keep it continuously with water, while at the same time investing resources in taking that water and using it. Use too much water very rapidly and you run the well dry. Don't fill the well, you run the well dry. So there should be a right kind of balance to keep the well of innovation and ideas there sustained while implementing it. This is the biggest challenge we face. In that context, where are we coming from in India? As I've said often, we are unusual as a country, and we're celebrating 75 years of our independence today. We are unusual as a country in that we have invested in high-level science and technology from the start. Compared to other post-colonial countries, this is unusual. We are also, therefore, unusual in that we have created a certain kind of dichotomy. We have what I'd like to call a France and a Germany here, which can understand any problem, solve any science and technology problem, and have a very vibrant industry. But we also have mixed with this France and Germany economic capability, a rather poor and poorly developed infrastructure and capability, and a need to take millions out of poverty. This salt and pepper mix is our challenge. How do we grind the pepper so that it mixes with the salt everywhere rather than stay away from it? How can our institutions connect? But at the same time, you need the pepper of excellence and capability. It's not that you can do without it. So this is the principal challenge we have going ahead. Now let us look at our present. At our present, all these celebrated innovations we are looking at have one prime characteristic of it. They are coming substantially from our educational system and its consequences, and less so from our research institutions and their consequences. Our education institutions and their consequences are our engineering colleges, our medical colleges, our other colleges, and they have learned really well from talented teachers, really superb teachers, and have become extraordinary innovators. There are examples of extraordinary successes and innovation from our research infrastructure, and those are not to be belittled in any ways. Those, for example, are the rise of our chemistry and generic industry. All of that took place because investment in the National Chemical Laboratories, the Institute for Chemical Technology, our small public sector chemistry companies, which spurred the growth of the generics and pharma industry, where India is a major leader, and also the petrochemical industry, such as the Institute for Petrochemical Research, such as in Dehradun of the CSIR, and others spurred that industry's growth. So industries in these areas have grown enormously. By the way, I should also mention the agriculture industry, because of investment in training of people in R&D in these areas. They have therefore extraordinary capabilities. So this is the net sum. We have done really well through our student entrepreneurship. Many faculty members in many of our institutions are coming into those. And our research institutions have spurred a foundational growth in many of our industries. But an underlying characteristic of both, and that is characterized by the term generics, is that we are able to understand anything done anywhere in the world and use it to our context and global context and do well. And therefore, this has an underlying strength, our ability to do that, but also an underlying concern that we are dependent on advances in elsewhere, which we are understanding by teaching and training and so on, and not our advances alone. This is not an easy task to say we must advance and have our advances coming into entrepreneurship. It takes countries, continents, generations, hundreds of years to do this. And the question, therefore, the last part of my talk is how can we do it going forward? Now, the answer to that is a simple one to state, but a difficult one to implement. The simple answer is that 90% of our research funds go to our research institutions, our elite institutions, where about 10% of our students go to. 90% of our students go to colleges and universities, including central universities, many state universities, where only 10% of our research funds do. So number one, we need to expand the funding of research into that ecosystem. The second component is most of the research of our top research agencies, DRDO, Space, ISRO, MIT, DOT, they go substantially into their own laboratories. They too need to open up funding into the broader ecosystem. The third point is industry. Industry is not investing enough into research. This is often being said, but this is a big challenge for industry because they have capital, they don't have risk capital. Now, the solution to that is industry should partner with our research institutions to do the two things which I said about. All of these are happening, they are on the anvil, they will happen, and therefore there is a great opportunity to break through and open up our innovative space to a larger number of people. Now, innovation must be linked with economic change and with markets. Now, that is an enormous opportunity which India has had. If you look at all our major missions, the highways, water, Swachh Bharat, other missions such as bringing, cleaning up, removing air pollution. All of these are defense sector growth, our manufacturing growth. All of this have been put in place by extraordinary policies which require talented people and talented innovators. Now that human resource pool cannot be satisfied by our current system, and therefore the opening up I referred to is important in that context, but that opening up will therefore also have a national huge market available. Similarly, if you look at the international market, and that we must do because that is our benchmarking, that is our competitiveness, all our industries will be able to compete over there only if we combine our innovation in products of the highest quality which can be exported and can compete in the cyber physical world. So that the combination of looking at markets nationally and internationally is very, very important. To end, all this is easily stated, but they require the integration of complexities in supply chain management, tariffs or non-tariff barriers, not having those tariffs, not having those it's all a balance, because to make something here and make it successfully, in some cases you have to import, in some cases you have to export, and it's very complicated economics which comes into the techno-economic component of what I said. And those are questions which are very complex, very challenging, because again, the problem which we need to address is that very large number of people need welfare, need benefits, need protection, and at the same time, the economy and innovation needs to grow at a breakneck pace. This requires intelligent people like in the audience who come together and address these complex questions, and I'm sure that they will be able to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us. And you have rightly said to expand the funding, the research funding to the broader ecosystem, and the industry academia should have a hand holding. To moving further ahead, I'd like to invite Mr. Kariyappan to take up the question answer session, please.
Thank you, Amrit sir. So thank you, sir, for your wonderful speech. Myself, Dr. Ilangovan, Assistant Innovation Director of Innovation, sir. So we requested the participants to post the question on YouTube, sir. On behalf of the participants, I'll be asking the question posted by them here. So the first question asked by one of the faculty member is, sir, in the current pandemic situation, as an academic institution, what is the area which we should concentrate on our research?
This is an important point. And, the answer should come not at an individual level, but at the institutional level, and even at the institutional level, it should be at a level of a group of institutions, preferably in a same geographical area or in a thematic area. And the reason I'll tell you is this. Supposing from a pandemic context, you say the most important thing to do is X, right? Now, if that X is done, and you can list it, you can say X, Y, Z, these are the important things to be done. If that X, everyone rushes to do X, Y, and Z at an individual level, it is not clear that we will be successful in solving that. But if an institution says, I as an institution will have to integrate all my researchers and focus to the extent feasible, bring them in to do X and coordinate with other institutions to get X done, then it will be feasible. So what is that X? It could be genome sequencing, it could be logistic supply chains, it could be ventilator manufacturing, and so many things. But that should be discussed and decided at a level which allows you to be effective rather than dilute your resources by doing things which are important in the sense that makes you feel good, but may not be necessarily as effective as you could be if you work together.
So other student from like in Andhra Pradesh, so they have been mentioned that, sir, like he is a medical student, so they have been very into their set of students who they want to do something to support this pandemic situation. So what is your suggestion for them to concentrate on, sir, as a medical student of final year there?
This is a time where talented, energetic students such as this person have an extraordinary role. Even during the Omicron wave, which is much less severe, talented people like them will be very valuable in working with the hospital infrastructure, the nurses, the doctors to help them so that patients' lives are made much easier. Doing that in a coordinated way would be very valuable.
Next question is, in the current pandemic situations, so they've looked into a lot of digital technology products, and online courses have been more into the market at both national and international level. But they many feel like it doesn't fulfill the end user sometime. So what is your suggestion on this for this innovation digital platforms and courses, sir? Because they feel like there is a lot of digital content available with them, but they're not able to effectively utilize. They want to know which to use and what to use because of the more availability on that.
No, this is a serious issue. This is one of the riches of resources available. Sometimes access can be limiting, but even that access issue can be solved. The principal point is the human interface of mentorship. People being able to talk to others, and they can talk to others in person or digitally, and convey what is it which will be valuable to look at and what is best to ignore. Work with them so that they have a time management system. We are so often, snowed down with the availability of material that we do nothing because there's so much over there. And we do a little bit here, just as I was talking about what can you do during the pandemic. There is no point in your doing little bit of this course, little bit of that course, little bit of a third course. You feel that you have tried, but at the end of 1 week or 10 days or 1 month, you are not progressed. So the mentorship is the key. And the mentorship means that people who are faculty members in schools and colleges, in research institutions, they should have a formal mechanism of reaching out and talking to people and mentoring them through this digital learning process. In families which are well-to-do and well-connected, the parents and relatives play that role. It is absolutely vital for each of us, and here each of us can play a role. If you are in the luxurious position of being able to understand what is to be done, what is useful material and what is not, reach out and adopt a few students whom you can take them through this maze. It's very important.
So the next question is there's an institute from Rajasthan. They said they have been supported for a funding through DST. No COVID time, there was a scheme which they have submitted and got funding on it. So they developed a medical product, but for the testing and other thing for them to commercialize, they're not able to get a solution immediately in the current situation. They are saying, sir. They've developed a product for the pandemic situation, but they are not able to take it to the market in the current scenario. So they are saying any suggestion from your end to make it fast commercialize and take the product to markets.
See, here is an important but difficult point to appreciate. We must look at government roles as being exemplary, giving examples of what can be done. But government should not be expected to handhold everyone through every step in the process. The process itself, secondly, is by its very nature a funnel. Very large number of people come in at the initial stage and they start getting filtered out at different levels of filters. And what goes through are people who have, lucked out in terms of technical virtuosity, economic situation, marketing capability, and so on. So my advice is there are multiple government sources, state government, central government, multiple ministries doing innovation, explore that. Also explore private sector support of various kinds. And again here, as in the previous answer, mentorship is very important for you to be able to negotiate this difficult landscape. Failure, everyone says, is a learning part for success. True, but there are unavoidable failures and avoidable failures. With mentorship, you can take care of the avoidable failures and deal with those which are much more complex.
From a student of agriculture students, you are talking about current innovation in research and innovation in agriculture area. So can you suggest or highlight any important vertical in agriculture to concentrate on, sir, in the current pandemic situation?
Well, the practical matter in food and agriculture is ensuring that delivery takes place to the poorest of the poor in these difficult times. So that is one aspect. It's more of a logistics and management issue rather than primarily an agriculture issue, even though agriculture is important. Farmers' welfare in this situation where labor forces may not be able to work full time is also an issue. My feeling is that these things will pass relatively soon. We should not view the pandemic as something which is going to last forever. And therefore, in agriculture and plant sciences, we must ask questions which will impact on the economy in short, mid, and long term, and how to do that. And the short answer for that is we had a green revolution where our scientists were told that you have unlimited water, access to fertilizers and pesticides. Can you give us high yielding strains so that we can produce enough food for our poor and for our population? So that was done. Now we should give boundary conditions to our scientists that we want you to use less water, less pesticides, less chemical fertilizers, and then produce enough of quality, nutritious food across the spectrum for our population. When that kind of a challenge is given, I'm sure that our scientists will very rapidly rise to that occasion, and they're already working on these kinds of areas.
So next question, it's a very general question, sir, from a student. He's very excited to ask this. Sir, in a current pandemic situation, this Omicron, any words or guidance from you for the students and faculty members?
As I said, the difficulties of the pandemic should not be seen as something which will last. But at this time, while we are still there, as students and faculty members, we really must reach out and support each other and our communities in terms of their mental health and physical well-being. This is very, very important. Remember that, small children may be growing up without the company of other children. That can be hugely challenging. How does one deal with that? That's a very important matter of innovation. How is the mental health of students who are, the whole purpose of a university is to have a gregarious social environment and not just teaching. So online teaching is not the only solution. These kinds of mechanisms, how can one get quality social interactions to improve our social context and our mental well-being is very, very important. The pandemic will go, but these are matters which, we should not forget that we are, as humans, a community. And if we don't address issues other than the specific logistical ones, have I done this course? Have I passed that course? Those are all doable things which we, of course, must do, no question about it. But also bring in a human touch and kindness in all our interactions.
Thank you, sir. So the other question is, like a student been asking, today has been more emphasis on design thinking. How can you correlate with innovation? Is a question from a student, sir. Because he says like in schools or colleges, today design thinking is an important buzz or keyword which has been used at all levels. So can you correlate with innovation and design thinking?
No, this is very, very important. Our design of products has moved from computer-aided designs of various kinds or designs in the floor of different kinds to an extraordinary situation where using computational tools, we can bring in materials, their quality, their costing, their machining, all of that into design. In other words, it is possible with having extraordinarily high quality IT prototyping tools linked to actual machines, we can design in a world-class manner. You can design in a world-class manner and prototype in a world-class manner. Then this design is an intellectual product, which is very, very valuable. You can export this design to anywhere in the world. And this is what, in very different ways, has happened in the semiconductor industry, where fabless design companies have been very, very valuable. But that kind of a concept goes through all kinds of designs, from a shoelace to a space telescope. And therefore, that is an area, even though I must stress it's very important to do hard touch and feel manufacturing, but this combination of design and prototyping and exporting of designs allows a distributed intellectual innovation environment to be created. That's something which is very important and we must try and do.
Thank you, sir. It was a fantastic session on behalf of Ministry of Education and the faculties and students who are joined across the country. I thank wholeheartedly for sparing your valuable time in spite of your busy schedule and addressing the students and faculties and also answering their questions. It was really a mind-blowing for us, including me. I was enjoying the session. And also, we are blessed to hear from you, sir. And in the current pandemic situation, your words will be enlightening all of us, and it will also motivate the students and faculties who have been joined this program online across the country from different disciplines. Thank you once again, sir, on behalf of Ministry of Education and the AICT for sparing your quality time. It really means a lot for us, for every word you spoke. The research about agriculture, the design thinking part, and the answers you have given was really an eye-opening to all of us. We enjoyed the session thoroughly. Thank you, sir. Thanks once again for joining for this session. Thank you.
Thank you.